Hello, everyone, and welcome to Shredding News TV. I'm Joey. I'm your host. I'm joined today by three fantastic panelists. We'll get introducing them. First up, we have Melvin from the UK. How you doing, Melvin?
Yeah, I'm good. Are you?
My nerves are probably shot. Still a little trembling, but we'll get into that. We have Terry from the Devil's Terrace. How you doing, Terry?
Yeah, very well. Thank you very much for having me on.
Good stuff. Been watching you for a while. Glad we finally got to get together and work. And then we also have Mike, who is a regular. How you doing, Mike?
I'm very good, folks. Joey, it's good to be back on again.
Whoa. Should probably have muted that. All right, we'll get right into it. It was an unchanged starting 11 from Friday's game against Aston Villa. Nothing, we were interested to see if anything would change. Melvin, can you have your thoughts on the starting 11 and an unchanged lineup?
Well, I wasn't too surprised. I mean, we were more hopeful than anything that there would be changes, especially Schweinsteiger. I think that was a massive shock that he didn't start. That was the main talking area about it. But the rest of it, I mean, they didn't really do too much wrong apart from Rooney against Villa, etc. Maybe attackingly we weren't as good, but defensively it was quite solid, so I can understand why Lou Van Gaal did that. But yeah, he changed it at half-time, obviously, and brought Schweinsteiger on, which I think gave us a lot more different options in midfield. Instead of having Schneiderlin and Carrick who sit back, do the same job, we had Bastian who can take the ball, create things, and then obviously Memphis and Januzaj in the midfield just ahead of him, and it worked pretty well. But yeah, I wasn't too surprised to see an unchanged lineup.
Yeah, I want to get into what you touched on right there because I had a question asked to me, and I'll come to you for this one, Terry. You talked about Schweinsteiger coming on and how it kind of changed up and offered something different. Terry, what do you think about him starting Carrick and Schneiderlin, two holding midfielders? Do you think that kind of slows us down in attack, or they're too similar?
No, I wouldn't say they're too similar. I think Michael Carrick, he looks at the game, he reads it, tries to intercept play, and he keeps the team sort of ticking over sort of defence into attack nicely. You saw his passing ability is sublime. The ball that he put in for our equaliser was brilliant. Where I look at Schneiderlin as a player that's a lot more physical, the way he'll intercept balls and he'll win balls back, but he puts his body into it, which Michael Carrick doesn't really have the ability to do. Where I do think they are similar in some ways is that neither likes to get that bit further forward, as you see from Schweinsteiger, which, that extra man going forward and helping the attack is sometimes what's needed. But at the moment, I think it's right to be bringing Schweinsteiger off the bench, just because I don't think he's fully match fit yet, and I think maybe in another couple of weeks we might start to see him sort of get more 75, 80 minutes, maybe a whole game under his belt.
Mike, what do you think about that? What did you make of Carrick's performance? As Terry said there, that ball to Memphis for the equalizer was excellent. But I think him playing Friday and then playing today, he's getting up there in age, and injuries really hurt him last season. When Schweinsteiger is fully fit, would you start him? And give me your thoughts on Carrick's performance overall in the first half.
I didn't think Carrick was that great today. It was a lovely pass, the goal, as you'd expect from Carrick. But he did look a little leggy. I think you're right about his age. I don't think he's capable of playing 2 games in a week anymore. That's for sure. I just wonder with Schweinsteiger, you talk about not being much fit, but surely he's fit to start a game, even if he only plays 60 minutes and you have to take him off. I was surprised he didn't start today. I thought he would because it was Europe. I would certainly look to start him in the next game because there's a lot more drive and pace going from the midfield, and we seem to be able to shift from defence to attack a lot quicker when he's playing. And he just seems to shut the game down more as well. I mean, you saw against Villa on Friday night, and he came on during a spell when we couldn't keep hold of the ball, and he instantly just changed everything. He made sure the team kept hold of the ball. Everyone suddenly got organised. They knew what they were doing. So I would look to start in the next game. He seems to have a bit of a better understanding with Schneiderlin than Carrick does as well. Carrick and Schneiderlin, neither one seems to know when to go forward, when to go back. They just don't seem to quite understand one another very well.
Yeah, I think maybe Schweinsteiger and Schneiderlin, because they have that Midfield thing going on, I think, and they came in together, then maybe they understand each other. Omar, thank you for this comment. I want to bring this to Melvin. He said Carrick is going to get found out this year with competition for his place. What do you think about that, Melvin?
Well, Maybe, but I think the whole idea was because Carrick is getting older, etc. And I agree with the points mentioned earlier. He can't play 2 games in a week. Lou Van Gaal knew this, told Ed Woodward, and that's why we've got Schneidlin and Schweinsteiger. We brought in 2 centre mids. He wasn't happy with the ones there, so they're brought in for competition. So I reckon that he's not really going to get found out because he won't be playing as much. All right, it's a bit like Fellaini last year. He eventually got found out because we were playing him constantly using the same tactics. Now we can mix it up. We've got a much more balanced midfield. Even Blind could be pushed into that midfield if, you know, Rojo's fit or whatever, etc. If we don't have him playing centre-back. We've got Fellaini there, Herrera, Schweinsteiger, Schneidlin, Carrick. So many options, strength and depth. And I think midfield is our strongest position. And now it's going to make opposition have to, instead of us having to deal with them, they're going to have to deal with us and change their match preparation, etc. So yeah, I think he won't get found out too much because he won't be playing as much.
That is something I don't think I've ever thought I would hear, that midfield was our strongest position. So I want to touch on Club Brugge. Terry, what did you make of Club Brugge and their tactics? They kind of came out and pressed us high up the pitch, and without that target man up top, we kind of struggled to pass it out from the back. And then I want you to talk about their goal. It came from a free kick, you know, an own goal, obviously, but Mata put in a foul, and I didn't really think that foul was necessary. I thought it was, you know, cheap. But what did you think about Club Brugge?
I thought it was refreshing to see a team come and attack and try to play football and score. I think if you watch 90% of Manchester United's home games, will play against teams that have 2 solid banks of 4 that are very hard to break down or try and suffocate the game. But you could also call it naive as well, because we do have better players. We are at home, and they would have expected us to have picked them off, and, you know, giving players like Memphis and Mata, Wayne Rooney more time on the ball is a dangerous tactic. But I thought they're very brave, and, you know, we do have a 2-goal lead going into the second leg, but we're going to need to be defensively at our best again, because with their home fans behind them, they're going to come at us sort of all guns blazing, and I think they'll put up a good fight. I mean, if we can get an away goal, maybe sort of keep them quiet after about 20 minutes, that's what we'll need, and I think it'll completely end the tie. But what you don't want to be doing is conceding the goal sort of early on ourselves again and having to fight back. So, but I thought Club Brugge was really brave, that they gave it their best, but with, I think, 8 injuries to their starting lineup, and with their main striker sitting on the bench because he's moving to Turkish side, I think it's Patiskas, after these 2 legs, I thought they did okay.
Yeah, it was a crazy opening 5 minutes, and it's nice, well, not nice to see, but that injury bug has seemed to left our camp and headed over to their camp with their injuries. And you talked about defensive shape, and I wasn't particularly, you know, I didn't think it was our defensive shape was that great the first half. I thought with Juan Mata, you know, constantly drifting in, he was leaving Darmian, you know, with 2-on-1s on his side. Mike, can you talk about Juan Mata's performance? And did you see the same thing I saw with the defensive shape? Did you kind of seem like we were open at the back too much?
Yeah, definitely. I'd add an additional to that as well. I thought another problem was Luke Shaw was just a little bit too high up the pitch and left a bit of a gap between himself and Daley Blind, which left Blind exposed a few times. I felt he needed to just tuck in a little bit more. I'm willing to let that go. He's still a very young player, Luke Shaw, so he'll learn his trade. He's clearly very good. And yeah, I think you're right with Mata. Because he likes to drift inside, because he's not a winger, he can leave that space open in behind. And if you're going to do back into the defence and almost make a back 3, and I just don't think they've got to grips with that yet. I'm not sure what the plan is right now. I don't understand that. I remember the sort of the back end strategy to how we play, and it works generally very well. I know we had lost 3 games in a row, but I thought the way we played at the last third of last season was better than the rest of it. But there doesn't seem to be much coherence in general about the shape of the team overall. It's not just the defence, it's the whole team. It just seems to be lacking any kind of shape.
Yeah, that last third of the season, we kind of played with a 4-3-3 with the triangle, you know, the midfield triangle pointing back towards the goalkeeper. And I agree with what you're saying about Juan Mata. Melvin, where's this comment? Kamikaze Passy said, Mata slowed down the game, he misplaced too many passes again, and made a stupid challenge, and he needs to do better. What do you think about that?
Well, I think this is why Mata on the right is a risk, because Club Brugge had a lot of pace, and that's what beats Mata when he's at right wing. And you were right, like he did leave Darmian exposed, which is why it comes back to Pedro. All right, like this Pedro transfer, we all want it to happen. We all want it to be done, because then that'll push Pedro to the right, and hopefully Mata gets his favoured number 10, because that's where he's best. Doesn't matter so much if he loses possession. He can do what he does best, and that's create things. But in this game, he was left exposed, and he left Darmian exposed, because he takes too much time on the ball for a winger, and that allows challenges to come in and then runs to be made behind. And yeah, he didn't have his best game, but he still did all right. I mean, I still think Rooney was probably slightly worse. I know he had a few shots on target, etc., but I really was expecting him to at least score, because it was Club Brugge, etc., and yeah, bit disappointed. But with Mata, yeah, I think he needs to be played centrally, and hopefully if this Pedro saga actually ends and we do get him, then maybe we'll actually see that a bit more.
Well, we're going to touch on that Pedro saga at the end, because something's kind of come to the front from the Daily Mail. So enough negativity. I don't want to be so negative, because we did win the tie. You know, we did win the match 3-1. And if anybody out of that front four had a game, Memphis, what a performance on the 2 goals. I thought they were excellent. Terry, talk about Memphis's performance.
Do you know what? I think you can always look at any player on the team's performance and find aspects that you'd like to see improvement on, because we all strive for perfection. But Memphis, you know, some people might throw out there's a few loose balls. He tried a bit too hard at times. He should have got a hat-trick. But overall, I think we're seeing the green shoots of a player that will be able to wear that number 7 shirt with pride, and will grow into it and put in the types of performances that I've grown up seeing from wingers at Manchester United. Already in his early career, you're seeing someone with the determination to succeed at our club. And tonight was simply fantastic from him. The first goal with the Gaza-esque sort of flick over the defender's head, sort of dummies a shot or two, drops a shoulder and puts it into the bottom corner. It was absolutely brilliant. And the second goal, very, I think he'd be getting tips off of Ashley Young, very Ashley Young-esque against Arsenal, you know, cutting him from the left-hand side and burying it into the almost top corner. We'll say top corner to make it sound that bit better. But I was impressed with him. He was a lot better in this game than his previous 2 in the Premier League. But I think we're seeing a player that we won't see that every week from him for maybe his first 10, 15 games. But with his size, his skill and his ability and his want to work. That's what I like about him when I see him play. He wants to work hard and he's there for the team. I think we've signed an extremely talented 21-year-old.
Mike, thoughts on his performance as well? And which goal did you like better, the first one or the second one from Memphis?
I think I preferred the second one just about. They were both excellent. He played very well. Should have had a hat-trick today. He was the best player on the pitch by a long, long way. He always looked like he's to make things happen. You can see how much more effective he is playing from out wide than he is playing through the middle. The way he can pick up the ball and run at people and cause all kinds of problems. And he is capable of delivering a good ball as well. There is still a little bit of what we saw with Di Maria last season, where he'll just sometimes simply shoot on sight. But he's a young guy, and he's going to do that. I think he learns more in his career. He'll do that a little bit less and know when to shoot and when to pass. But he was excellent tonight. He's a player that is someone who can create something out of nothing and break a game. And we desperately need that kind of player right now.
Yeah, I think I completely agree with that. We need that game changer, you know, that guy that at any minute can turn it on and create some magic. We had that with Di Maria last September, and you know, unfortunately, it didn't work out. So I'm going to come now to a topic that's been, Friday. He had 1 touch in the opposition box. Everyone offers a different opinion on this, and I know that the panel doesn't always agree, or they kind of have different thoughts. So let's talk about Wayne Rooney. Melvin, I'll give you first crack at it. What did you think about Wayne Rooney's performance today? Was it better than Friday?
Well, yeah, definitely better than Friday, but still not what you would associate with Wayne Rooney. I think the system doesn't work with Rooney up top. He can't seem to. He's never in the box. I mean, if you look at it, all right, he's always collecting the ball from midfield, and then when that slows down the play because we've got to do sideways passes, wait for runners in the box. There's never any runners. I mean, he did it once or twice, and to be fair, Luke Shaw probably should have crossed in. I think it was in the first half when Rooney made a run. I think Michael Owen, of all people, made reference to that. But yeah, that was probably where he would have got a goal. But he doesn't do that as much in the system, and it's really annoying, all right? If he's a striker, we don't want him to see him come back into the midfield. We've got plenty of midfielders who can take the ball and pass, so he needs to be on the last man constantly, and in this system, he isn't. Maybe in a 4-3-3 again, if we get Pedro, then have Memphis running, then maybe, Van Gaal will tell him, look, don't come back, all right? We've got plenty of cover for that, etc. Just focus on trying to be on the last man, causing problems. So he was a bit better today, but if he doesn't score against Newcastle, then we've seriously got problems because, like Villa, they are one of his favourite opponents. He scored so many times, and especially at Old Trafford. If he doesn't, then we might have problems going into this season if he is the #1 striker.
Terry, can you continue with that? Your thoughts on Rooney's performance?
Yeah, I mean, better than it was against Aston Villa. I think he can play as a striker, but maybe not in the formation that we've currently got him in. I think Melvin got it absolutely right. He likes to drift out wide, he likes to come deep, and it's about who then replaces him in that position, and nobody seems to be wanting to play off the shoulder. I mean, Hernandez came on, and I thought did it quite well, the way he drags defenders out of position and then in turn creates space for other people. But sometimes those things go unnoticed. I think we've almost grown accustomed to a culture of football now where we look at stats, we look at goals, and we look at assists. We sometimes don't look at the fact that the way someone drops their shoulder can create space for somebody else to run through and score. And I think Rooney's getting a bit of a hard time at the minute because fans are still striving for this sort of perfection. And over the last 5 or 6 years, every year we seem to have a player that we want to focus our negativity on. Fellaini had it last year, the year before that it was somebody else, before that, and it goes on. And for me, Rooney will have 5 or 6 goals by the end of September, and these conversations will almost become sort of elementary for me. Is he the greatest striker in the world? No. Would I like to see him play deeper with someone like Zlatan or even Harry Kane up front? Me personally, yes. But I think he can do a job, but we need to do what we didn't do last year for either Van Persie or Falcao as well, and actually create strikers opportunities for them to score. He then needs to stay in position that little bit more, but if he isn't getting the ball, we know what Wayne Rooney's going to do. He's going to hunt for it. He's done that his whole career, so I don't see why things that he's never been that good at, so whether it's his first touch or the fact he doesn't stay up front, he's never done that, so I don't see why now, sort of 15 years later, we're giving him stick for it.
Mike, do you share Terry's optimism that Rooney will have 5 or 6 goals at the end of September?
I love Terry's optimism. No, seriously, I do, because I think if everyone was like me, it's going to be a very, very long old season. Personally, I think Wayne Rooney's been in decline for quite a long time. I wrote about this for the Strictly News website, and I called him yesterday. I think he's been on the slide for a while now. He physically, it's not just, we talk about his first touch and his lack of discipline, which he's never had, but he's lost his pace as well. One of the things I noticed, both in this game and against Aston Villa and Spurs, mind seems to know what he wants to do and he seems to be willing, but his body just doesn't seem to have it. And I just wonder whether, even though he's not an old player, he's played for such a long time, it must be 13, 14 years now, he's played in the top flight, he's played from a very young age at Everton. He looks shot-worn, he looks like a guy with a lot of miles on the clock. For me, he certainly should be playing up front. I'm not sure Pedro's the guy that we need either. I think we need more of a focal point. And then that leaves, well, where else do you play? Do you play as a number 10? Because he's certainly not the best number 10 we've got, I would say. I think Juan Mata offers more. I think Ander Herrera could offer a lot more as a number 10, frankly. So on form, there's no place for Wayne Rooney. But, of course, the manager and the previous manager, and as many other managers do, Wayne Rooney, just make him completely undroppable.
Well, it's interesting because I was reading an article when Van Gaal was at Bayern. Mark Van Bommel was the captain, and he brought in Luis Gustavo and some other players, and he ended up dropping Van Bommel even though he was the captain. So we'll have to wait and see. Van Gaal has come out with this ruthless type of thing, where he was playing. He dropped Di Maria for Ashley Young last season, and I think if you're the best man for the position, you should play. And I think that's Van Gaal's thing. So we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to see if this continues. Do you want to jump in, Terry?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think with Van Gaal, a few people have said that he's made Rooney, put Rooney in a position where he's undroppable. But I think if you look at his relationship that he had with Robin van Persie, the fact that their wives are best friends that still go out shopping together now, we all expected, a lot of us expected Van Persie to get the captaincy when Louis came in, and just after the last game of the season, he pulls him aside and says that I'll be selling you this summer because you're basically not up to playing at the level I need you to be. I think Louis is ruthless, as you say, and if Rooney doesn't, if Rooney continues to play like this, maybe 3-4 games in, I think he will be dropped by the manager at some stage if he doesn't start to prove me right. Please prove me right. Just because I want the team to be successful. I sometimes feel a lot of United fans out there, they put out a bit of negativity, and this isn't aimed at anyone on this panel, and they're happy when it goes wrong, and I kind of want it to go the opposite way. You see.
Is there not a problem? Sorry, just to interject. Is there not a problem if he waits 3 or 4 games and that transfer window closes and he's not bought a striker? Suddenly we don't have a central striker to play, apart from Wayne Rooney, who's not picking up his form. He has always been a very patchy player, Wayne Rooney. He's always scored in bursts and then gone ages without scoring, which is a bit of an issue for a centre forward as well, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. There could be a problem. That's for the management. That's for the owners and the CEO and Van Gaal to fix. I would, whether we drop Rooney or not, whether he now goes on the best run of his life and scores 60 goals, I would still not want to rely on Hernandez and young James Wilson this season. I would rather us go out and buy, Zlatan's suddenly available. Let's try. I know his relationship ain't great. Let's try and bring him in. Look at Harry Kane. There's not many focal point strikers out there that I think are buyable that are going to elevate us to that next level. As you say, Pedro is great, but do we want players that are on the fringes of these top teams, or do we want the absolute creme de la creme to come in? It's a tough decision.
You're absolutely right. And look, I think that they're doing everything they can to bring in a top striker. Teams don't have to sell or want to sell their top players, especially to us. We'll talk about. There's been a rumored bid for a certain striker in Bayern Munich. But I want to focus more on this game again. Melvin, everybody since preseason has been on Daley Blind. I thought he did all right today. I think there was a few times one-on-one defending where he did a good job. I don't think he was outpaced, and I'm confidently growing into the thought of him maybe becoming a center back. I still think we need a leader, but I think him and Rojo over the period of the season could do a job for us. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they could, but we really need, we've got a big challenge coming up soon in the Liverpool game, and I think if we are to play Blind, all right, although it's a massive game, he needs to prove it in a big game, and that would probably be the best stage for him to do it, all right? He needs different challenges because he's only been centre-back 3 games, all right? He's done relatively well, but you can see some of his weaknesses. Sometimes he loses the header, etc., and then that causes a chance. Sometimes he's just not in the right position all the time. He reads the game very well, but I don't know. Obviously, we don't want to see him as a first choice. It's a bit like Fellaini, right? We don't want to see him as a first choice, but he proved it today that he is a brilliant backup and a different offer. Right? It's important to have other options, not just the same types of players. And I think Blind as a centre back could be useful this season, but it's not something I want to see first choice. All right, definitely not. All right, I think Rojo would probably be better as a centre back just for the fact that he's a default centre back. He knows the role better than Blind does. But yeah, he's done very well for the first 3 games. Showed up a lot of critics, and I want it to go right. All right, I really want him to be this centre half. All right, and I hope he is. But whether that'll happen, we'll have to wait and see. And of course, there's 2 weeks of the window left, and we signed Di Maria and we signed Falcao after this period last year, I think. So, we'll be getting deals, trying to get deals done by the end of the window. And yeah, Muller, €85 million bid apparently, but I think that's just Bill trying to sell papers. And Pedro, apparently the Chelsea interest that's reportedly came in is just Barca trying to speed up Ed and pay the extra $2 million, etc. But yeah, I'll let you talk about transfers since you're the host or whatever. So yeah, back to you.
All right, and I want to touch on the red card late in the game, Terry. There's about 10 minutes to go. One of their center backs got booked. Hernandez, he looked like he was in control of the situation, and then Hernandez snuck in and was fouled. With 10 minutes to go, did you expect us to throw the kitchen sink at them? And I was a little disappointed that they were passing the ball backwards. I thought, it's okay to pass it back once or twice, but you gotta get in there. And I felt we really needed that third goal, and I didn't think it was going to come.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want us to throw the kitchen sink at it because they had some pacey players on the pitch, and what would have been devastating would have been to have conceded a late equaliser. That would have put us in a very sort of precarious position. But I really enjoyed our performance. I was quite entertained. I felt we were getting back to old school Manchester United. The crowd was up. We were very buoyant. It was just in that final third, although we scored 2 fantastic goals before Fellaini's late, I don't know whether it was his back or his shoulder or his head, I'm not sure what it was, that he put it in the back of the net with. I really thought we were going to go on to score 4 or 5 goals in the end, and we were unlucky at times. But, it's about creating those chances because the goals will come if we continue to play like that. But, 3-1 in the end, I would take that. But, yeah, they lose their man on the 80th minute. Yeah, silly boy. Yeah, no reason to go in from behind. You know what it's like in European football. You can't really leave the ground anymore and go in for slide tackles. So silly boy will miss the return leg at home in front of his own fans.
Mike, Fellaini comes on. Is he the hero? And I mean, it's nice to have a plan B, in my opinion. I don't think Fellaini should be starting every game like he was last third of the season or last quarter of the season. But I like the plan B off the bench.
Yeah, he's certainly a more effective striker than Wayne Rooney's been so far. He's a plan B. He's a very expensive plan B. He's about £28 million, isn't he? Something like that. I still think long term we should be looking to recoup some money on it, to be honest. But listen, I can't fault the guy's attitude. He works hard. He tries to improve. And yet, he is very effective when he comes on. It gives us another option. It's not so much long ball football. It's just getting the ball out to the flanks and putting it in the box like we used to do years ago. You can't do that for 90 minutes anymore because you'll get found out very, very quickly. But it's good to have it as an option. And he was very effective. He actually held the ball up quite well and all, which was good to see. Because we definitely need someone up there just to keep hold of it and try and bring runners into play.
Yeah, I mean, it is an expensive plan B, but I'm glad we have that plan B. I think that, late in games when you need to hit it up to somebody, and even you saw, like I was saying with their tactics earlier, we didn't have anybody to knock the ball forward to. We were trying to play out the back, and they were pressing us really high, and they were doing a really good job of it. So I'm going to ask all of you the same question. Melvin, how confident are you going into the second leg away at Bruges?
Very, to be honest. I mean, I don't see there being more problems than there was in this leg, and also the best centre-backs now being red carded, I think, Michel. So, yeah, it should be this open game. They're going to have to attack us now, so they can't sit back. They need 2 goals. So, again, I think we could comfortably get 3, 4, 5, like we should have today. We should have got more than what we did, but I'll take a 3-1. Great result. So, yeah, I'm confident.
Terry, same question?
Yeah, I mean, we should have enough for them away. I would expect us to win in Belgium by a couple of goals again. We have full internationals, and they're a much smaller club than we are. But I think we'll be in for an entertaining second leg because they're going to have to go for it. So there should be a lot of space for us to exploit. In terms of the starting lineup, maybe Mata's been decent this season, but I would like to see a lot of pace in our attack. Maybe Pedro might be here by then, but I doubt it. He can't play anyway. He's not registered for us. But, bringing in Ashley Young maybe to add a bit, or maybe even Valencia on the right-hand side for a game, just to add a bit more pace into the counter-attack where we can exploit them and put the ball in the back of the net.
Mike, are you confident?
Well, that's just interesting. I've just had a look at the post-match comments by Club Brugge's manager, and he seems to think that his team have got absolutely no chance in the second leg. So that's what he thinks. Yeah, I'm pretty confident.
Excellent. And I want to thank everybody who's watching, too. Kamikaze Pepsi, Mark Smells, he seems to be a funny guy in the comments. Mike, he seems to have a little crush on you. And Haley as well.
Must be the T-shirt.
Yeah, he said you look like Captain America, so we'll have to look into that. Aaron K, everyone, thanks for watching. If you could, put a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and we're gonna get into the end of this. I had been sent some information, not really information, but like Aidan said, Melvin said, Terry, there's been a 85 million euro bid for Thomas Muller. What do you think about that? Me personally, I think that you could grab a check, leave it blank, and hand it to Bayern Munich, and they still, they could put any number on it, and they're not going to sell.
So I think it's interesting, really. I think that's the kind of ambition the club needs to demonstrate. Why is it only that Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid can buy the best players in the world, and we have to settle for just buying youngsters and developing them, which is great. Nothing in this world is not for sale if you offer enough money. There's not a player on earth that is not buyable. It's just around putting your money where your mouth is, putting the bid in. And you know what, if you turn the player's head, the only thing I would say that it depends on where, for me, Bayern Munich's stance is. Because Muller and Pep Guardiola, by all accounts, don't have the greatest of relationships. One of his best friends has just moved to Manchester United, but it's around the board. Are they going to back the manager and say, well, if you want rid of him, we'll allow you to spend this £85 million on a player of your choice? Or do they say, do you know what, Pep, we're not keeping you on at the end of this season, we're going to let you go anyway, so we're not going to sell one of our prize assets who's come through our academy and weaken our squad. At the same time, if the player does want to go, I've always personally been a firm believer in let them go. If they don't want to be there, their heart's not going to be in it, and are they really going to put the performances in? I think Man United fans, we grow quite sceptical because we're linked to every single. I live in London, as you can tell, so I pick up the metro every morning on the tube, and if you read that every day and take it seriously, we've signed about 200 players this summer. But I would definitely say, for me, if it's true, let's see what happens off the back of this, because we definitely have the pulling power to bring a player like Thomas Muller to the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge fan of Thomas Muller. I think he just scores all types of goals. I think he would be well in the Premier League. Mike, what would Thomas Muller bring to this current team?
Goals. We desperately need goals. Lots and lots of goals. He scores plenty of them. He's a brilliant player. He's one of those players. He's a funny one. He's absolutely brilliant, but when you watch him, you can't quite figure out why he's so brilliant. But he just seems to, oh, look, there he is, and he scored. As Brazil found out last summer. I'd love to have him. I don't know whether this is a story maybe put about by his agent to try and secure a better deal at Bayern Munich. I'm a little sceptical. As Terry mentioned, we're all pretty sceptical. The whole Ramos thing has only entrenched that scepticism. Incidents with Fabregas as well. Thiago, players who basically used United to get a better deal at their own clubs or secure a better deal at a club that they actually like to go to. He'd be a great signing, but get the scouts out there. If we're looking for a striker, let's see what's out there. I don't mind United going for this policy of buying players who are maybe up and coming and turning them into absolute world beaters. I'm okay with that. We've done that consistently for years and years and years. Alex Ferguson made a successful career out of it, so I've got no problem with us carrying that on.
Yeah, I think, if we can get him, I don't care about the price. For me, the club makes plenty of money, and it's less in the Glazers' pocket. Melvin, talk about Thomas Muller. How excited would you be if he joined Manchester United? I mean, that's kind of a dumb question, but can you just add on to any of the things that Mike and Terry have said?
Well, it would be like the perfect signing, all right? I think we've said that since the start of the window. He is the perfect fit for this. All right, Louis van Gaal's 4-3-3 system, whatever you want to call it, 4-2-3-1, he'd be perfect in it. He can play numerous positions up front, right, etc. But it's not going to happen, all right? I'm sorry, but it really is not going to happen, all right? This is probably just another paper trying to sell. But I think it's a load of shit that we've bid 85 million euros. I think we would only bid if we've been told by Bayern Munich it's possible, all right? We'll be talking to them, and I guarantee they've said there's no chance of this deal happening, all right? Maybe I'll be surprised, all right? I really want it to happen, but realistically, it's not going to. Why would he leave Bayern Munich? I know people said that was Schweinsteiger, but he's won everything there, and he's 30, all right? Muller's 24, he's just getting started. German international, loves it there, they're winning big. I just can't see it happening, although I really, really would want it to happen, and I think he'd be the perfect signing. I just can't see it happening. Sorry for my negativity, but I just can't see it happening.
I'll try and bring something positive. I think, like you said, he's 24. He's won it all. World Cup, numerous Bundesliga titles, the German League Cup, the Champions League. Why not, at this age in your career, go and show that you can do it in England? You've already done everything you can in Germany. why not come to England? Your good friend Schweinsteiger is there, the guy who brought you through the ranks and gave you your chance. Louis van Gaal is there. I think, and make no mistake, United will pay the guy. He'll get paid, and he'll get more of a worldwide recognition, in my opinion. You see it with Ronaldo and the brand that is Messi and Ronaldo and things like that. No, he's not probably going to be in that tier, but I think Thomas Muller goes in that tier right under your Gareth Bales, Luis Suarez, and players like that. And real quick before I wrap everything up, Terry, the Daily Mail is reporting that Pedro, Chelsea have no problem paying his buyout clause. Do you think, like Melvin said, that that's just something to speed along the process, or do you think we should be worried that there's genuine interest from Chelsea?
Well, Chelsea need something new. They need something to freshen up their squad. So there's that chance that they could be bidding for him. I don't think Manchester United have an issue at all with how they pay. We've got more money than we know what to do with at Manchester United now with all the new deals and TV money. We're in a great position financially. I actually think there's a bit of truth in the Muller deal, and we're off looking at players that we would potentially prefer to Pedro. But we can't say that to Barcelona or the player, because if we end up with him, it's not going to go down very well that you were sort of sloppy seconds. But I don't think Chelsea are interested in him. He plays in exactly the same position as Eden Hazard. They have Willian that also plays there. That's I don't know. Willian's probably not as good as Pedro, but why would you buy someone that plays where Hazard plays? It wouldn't make much sense to me.
I agree that they do need something different because they won the league so easily last season. In the second half of the season, they kind of walked it, and you have to freshen up when you're champions. You have to add to your squad. You have to keep it fresh. Keep players on their toes for their positions. So we're gonna wrap it up. Mike, any final thoughts on today's game? Anything you have on your mind?
I believe that Pedro's release clause is 21 million, so I'm expecting a bid from Ed Woodward of about 20.5.
Is this a case of Arsene Wenger and Arsenal bidding 40 million and £1? So thank you everybody for watching. If you could give the video a like, and Melvin, can you let people know where they can find you on Twitter?
Melvin7, probably be in the description. Same as YouTube, Melvin7. I upload a lot of Manchester United reviews, etc., reactions, and FIFA videos as well when FIFA 16's out. So yeah.
And Terry's got this new idea coming up that I'm very interested. I watched the first one. Terry, can you tell them about where they can find it and your idea? Because I get what you're saying. I see people and they chat and they hide behind their Twitter accounts. I want to see them get called out, and I want to see some good debates.
Yeah, so it's called Football's Question Time. It's a really original title that we used. And basically it's last week it was all Manchester United fans, so you didn't have that rivalry aspect, but it's people coming out. And this week we've got some really good guests on the show. This Saturday night at 10 p.m. live, we have Jim Broadman, who is a Liverpool fan and sort of quite a renowned journalist. We have two sort of big Twitter users, a guy called Tiki Blue Sun, who is quite a funny guy, who's a Chelsea fan, and also Arsenal Fans TV regular, Simple Cookie. That's the only name he goes by. And finally, our star guest. We've got a celebrity coming on, one that I was spending an hour and a half with him last night, teaching him how to use Google Hangouts, which was the most weirdest experience of my life. It's John Callas, the guy that plays Boise in Only Fools and Horses. So there was me and him across cameras last night trying to teach him how to use it. Yeah, very interesting. So we're going to see how it goes on Thursday night. But make sure you guys tune in. And anybody that's interested in coming on, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you've got one follower on Twitter, or if you're like the true Geordie and you're bottling it and you're not coming back to me, you can come on, you say your piece, because for me, it's about fans getting out there and giving their opinions.
Yeah, I think I speak for a lot of fans. We want to see Arsenal Mo on there. We want to see him get into a quality debate.
He's another one. Him and Ty, I reached out to them both, emails, Facebook, everything. Not one reply back. And I think it's because of what I've said to them. In one of them replied saying, "What's the concept?" And I said, "The only thing I won't allow is for you just to shout over people. You have to let them speak, and then you answer them. It's like a civilized debate. We're not animals, and they can't do that. So we won't see anyone from any one of those guys on there. True Geordie. We won't see Howson on there. We won't even see Mark Goldbridge because he'll give it the big one, but he won't come on. I guarantee it.
That's unfortunate. Mo's probably too busy looking at the net spend table. Mike, where can people find you on Twitter?
Mike_Loudmouth. I've got the Northern Loudmouth blog. Obviously, I write the Column for Stretty News. I write a film review for To Houston, and I write for a political newspaper based in the Northwest called Speaker. By the way, just really, I'm a massive Only Fools and Horses fan, so I think that's actually some genuinely great news that Terry's got there. I'm really quite looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, it's a great idea. It's perfect. I think it'll get lots of viewers, and you might see some of the Stretty people on there. Thank you for watching, everyone. If you could, leave a like on the video. We'll put everyone's information on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter as well, @StrettyNewsTV. And stay on the lookout. Thursday, there will be a preview for the game against Newcastle. Always great content on this channel. Thank you for watching. You guys have a good night.